Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Malcolm Crawford, and today we're going to be talking about Codename Inazuma by Mike Strong. Let's get into it. All right, guys, please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, and it'll help my growth a lot. Let's start the video. All right, so for those who don't know, Mike Strong is actually an artist and writer who blew up on TikTok in late 2020, early 2021 with his original character, Inazuma. Basically, after that TikTok blew up, he started giving us updates on the comic that he was writing called Codename Inazuma. So much hype started building around it that Black Sands actually ended up reaching out to him and they collaborated on getting this project out. I found his art very early and I've been hyped for this project for the long time. I followed him way back then. He actually ended up following me back a little bit later and we ended up becoming cool. And I've been super hyped for this to come out. So I'm so hyped that I got a chance to read it and review it for you guys. When talking about this, the first thing that I have to mention is the representation. I think that representation is super important in stories, and the fact that Mike and Black Sands are also so big on representation really shows very well in this story. At the end of the day, it's a story written by a black man, so it's really exciting to see that the main character is also a black man. I can see myself in Inazuma, and I think that's a really important thing, especially for young kids growing up. Being able to see themselves as their heroes is a very important thing. And it's not just black people, it's representation for everybody. There are characters from all races and all types of walks of life just in this first chapter. And that's not something you see often. I think that's something that needs to be rewarded. Matter of fact, Inazuma at the beginning of the story only has one arm. That's representation in itself. And I say all that to say that it's just super cool because it really does show that anybody can become a hero. Now, once we get into the first chapter in the story, I think it's really cool because it kind of gives me a My Hero Academia vibe. So basically what the world is like is, a long time ago, people started getting different type of mutations which gave them superpowers, and only 50% of the population gets those superpowers. Unfortunately, Inazuma did not. Not only did Inazuma not develop superpowers, he also only has one arm, which just kind of adds a little bit more difficulty onto things. And when I say difficulty, it doesn't seem like it adds any difficulty for him. What seems to be the main problem is that he kind of has to balance the expectations of other people. Just in the first couple panels of the story, you'll see him talking to his dad, explaining, I'm okay, you don't have to worry about me. I've only had one arm for a long time and I know how to deal with this. You don't have to act like I'm a child. In a lot of ways, Inazuma reminds me of Deku because Deku always looked up to superheroes and always idolized superheroes, but he didn't have those powers. And Inazuma is kind of the same way. Even though he doesn't really let his frustration in that bother him at all, let's be honest, Deku, it kind of did get to him a bit. It just came out, but it has that feel of nostalgia and familiarity that kind of makes you more comfortable reading it and kind of draws you to the story a little bit more. Where the story really starts to get cool for me is the fact that being a hero is actually illegal. It seems like once you get powers, you gotta let the government know, and if you don't do that, there are going to be problems, and y'all know the government don't play around. And it's no different in Codename Inazuma. So I'm not positive, but where I see the story going is potentially Inazuma joining up with this group that was fighting against the special forces. It seems like they're their own brand of superhero, and assuming that them and the special forces are going to be going against each other, because while the government is powerful and while the government is supposed to be on top of everything, I'm sure they probably aren't doing things in the best way possible. We see this in the first chapter where they're kind of antagonizing this little kid and Inazuma has to come and save them. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil the rest of the book. I definitely want you guys to go check it out because I really enjoyed it. But there are a lot of cool places that this story has the ability to go. Just because of the fact that Inazuma didn't have powers most of his life and got them, it gives us a lot of cool avenues where I feel like the story can be taken. Like, we'll be able to explore things like seeing him train with these new powers and being so far behind everybody else. Also, the responsibility of having superpowers. When you get them last minute, you don't really know what kind of responsibility you have. You got to learn about that. And even some ego could come into check. If you're living your whole life without powers, now you magically get some crazy abilities. I can see that boosting your ego too. There's so many places this story can go. And I talked to Mike earlier. He was saying chapter 1 is like the classic coming of age story, but chapters 2 and 3 is really where the story is going to get fleshed out. So I'm sure a lot of these questions that I have are going to get answered there. Yo, let me know if you guys are going to check out Code Inazuma. I definitely want to talk about it with more people, and I would love to talk about it with y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that, and I will catch y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace.